the fathers that's present, the fathers that's not present, fathers that's there in spirit only, and the fathers that's, on, on the line, man, guiding and teaching. And happy Father's Day to those fathers that's filling in the gap for other fathers that couldn't be there or chose not to be there. So happy Father's Day. One quick adjustment. Give me a second. Just only take a second. Okay, here we go. So let's go back to the Book of Kings, and we'll take it from there. I know a lot of people are out and about celebrating Father's Day, but we're going to bring the word, then we're going to get out and about as well. So let's go to chapter 2. Now the day of David drew, chapter 2, verse 1. Now the days of David drew nigh, that he should die. And he charged Solomon his son, saying, I go the way of all the earth. Be thou strong, therefore, show thyself a man, and keep the charge of the Lord, thy God, to walk in his ways, to keep his statutes and his commandments, and his judgment, and his testimonies, as it is written in the laws of Moses, that thou mayest prosper in all that thou doest, wherever so that turn themselves. One of the things that I appreciate about is the charge. It's the charge that he's given to his son as he begins to transition into another place, another world. And he's charging him what to do, how to remember, what not to forget. And I want to point this out, that we don't have to wait to the end to charge somebody, to give them instructions of what to do that's going to create, I'm going to use this word and I'm going to use it lightly, prosperity. I know most people believe that prosperity is money. But what he said, that you will prosper, remember the ways of God, that you may prosper. Make sure everything lines up to his will, that you may prosper. Wherever you go, that you will receive favor. So that's one of the things that I appreciate, is the charge. And I want to remind you is that you don't have to wait till you're stricken on your deathbed. Listen, this just happened too last night and today. I had a friend of mine, Michelle Slade, a good friend of mine. She had posted something, and I'm deviating just for a minute just to show you an example. She had posted something on Facebook, excuse me, I don't agree with this at all, and I'm sure most of you won't agree with it either once I explain it. And she had said that black people would be great, and they would be in such a great place if they didn't snake each other and hurt each other. And I said, I disagree. And I went through a litany of things showing how, just me as a black man, anytime I needed anything, any support, whatever, it was always people that looked like me that came to my rescue. And she reiterated and said she agreed. Then a young lady chimed in, Miss Renee. I don't know her. I don't want to divulge her last name, but nice young lady. She went in and she said some things and she agreed. And we had conversation. And one of the things that she said was that she found some of it to be true. Because when she was young, she caught a lot of flack from her friends. They, when she wanted to go to college, she was saying that they had made remarks about her and called her corny and things like that. And my response to her was, you only can teach what you know. And I said that it sounds like that everybody in your circle was being taught the same thing, that attending college was for cornballs, it was corny. but you had someone else, but she had someone else teaching her otherwise. And that going to college was a good thing. And I mentioned that, you know, we can't assume that everybody has the same belief system that we have. And we can't assume that everybody knows the same things that we know. And we can't assume that everybody has a level of confidence where they can go on and accomplish great things, because some people don't. And I say to her, you cannot take those things out of the equation, and don't take out the equation that they were probably fearful of losing you. But she went on to say how she taught her children the same thing. And my response was, keep on teaching, and your children will keep on teaching. And then we'll eventually get a handle on this thing for those that lack confidence, or those that lack, you know, had someone inspiring them and pushing them and doing things like that for them. I got a text this morning from a friend of mine in Florida. This is what she said to me. She said, if you were my father, I would be somebody famous. You know, so I appreciated the thought that she said and how she felt. But it all depends on what we teach. Solomon's father, David, was teaching him, you know, even though he was teaching him as he was descending, but he still made the effort to teach that he will maintain and retain prosperity, or prosper everything wherever he went, be through the word and through the hand of God, by him being connected to him. So the point for the whole so, you know, for me saying everything I was saying, it was just to give credence that you got to keep teaching. And you don't have to wait till you succumb to your transition. That's the last, you know, some people may receive it and some people may not. Your job and my job is to keep hammering the nail of knowledge, the nail of information. Sometimes it's going to be nailed into us and we're going to be the nail, and sometimes we're going to be the hammer. But the job is to keep doing it regardless of who receives it or not. Everybody's not going to receive it when you give it to them. But it may click later on and they may be like, that's what he was talking about, or that's what she was talking about. So don't be discouraged because someone doesn't, you know, respond right away to your teaching. Your job is just to teach, but don't wait till the last minute. Let's move on. Moreover, I'm at verse 5. Moreover, thou knowest also what Joab. Now this is interesting. This is Solomon telling his son about the rotten individuals. Listen, it's needed. You have to tell them about those that, you know, oppress you individually, collectively, those that oppress you on a job, those that set you. You have to let them know what to look out for and who they are. So it's needed. You can't say, let them figure it out on their own. You can't do that. That does everybody a disservice. And it even does you a disservice for your suffering. Your suffering, you need to gain some reward by advising people whose hand you suffered that. So don't get discouraged, you know, or don't feel like you can't share it. You let them know because it's important. It's important that they know. Now pay attention to what David was saying to Solomon. Moreover, thou knowest also what Joab, the son of Zeruiah, did to me, and what he did to the two captains of the host of Israel, Abner, the son of Ner, and Amas, the son of Jeddah, who he slew and shed their blood of war in peace. But the blood of war uphold his girdle that was about his loins, and his shoes that were on his feet. In other words, what he's saying is, yo, remember that guy right there. He's not a worthy guy. And remember what he did to the two people that were worthy, and two people I loved, and two people that sought to protect you, and two people that sought to guide our people in a time of peace. He bludgeoned them. You got to remind people of who they are. and the capabilities that they have of what they've done. Don't get it twisted. Do therefore, now watch the command. Do therefore according to thy wisdom, and let not his horror head go down to the grave in peace. The key word here is what he said was, watch this. Do therefore according to thy wisdom. Wisdom. Use wisdom. Sometimes people use everything based on, I'm going to get him. No, it's not the wise thing to do. Don't base your decisions on how you feel. Base them on the facts. So he reminded him. Let's move on. But show kindness to the sons of Barzillai, the Gileadite, and let them be of those that eat at the table. For so they came to me when I fled because of Absalom, their brother. You're going to take on the ticket of some other people. You're going to take on a ticket. And what I mean by that is, you're going to be a blessing to some other people for what those people did to for your father and your mother and your sister, and how they showed them favor, and how they showed the ones that you love favor. So he's telling him to continue that relationship, reciprocate, because it's beneficial. If it's beneficial to him, it's beneficial to you. Your job is to continue that relationship. Don't cut the relationship off that's been a blessing down the line to your family, because it had to affect you and bless you as well. Just because you get in a certain position or a certain place or whatever, still maintain those ties that's been beneficial to you and your family. Maintain those ties. Don't get so big that now you won't invite them to the table because you think you've transitioned to a better place than your mother and your father, and you don't need that. No, those relationships were good for your family because they're good for you. Maintain them. You don't maintain them when they've been harmful to you. Listen, let me tell you something. And I remember my parents telling me this, more so my mother. You can't live in this world alone. It's just that simple. The more resources you have, the better for you and everybody connected to you. Because now you have an abundance of resources where you can pull from that's going to benefit someone else as well as you. Our job, particularly in this ministry, is to build relationships that you may need, exactly, point is, you may need to send somebody for work or send somebody for a favor. Build the relationships. All right, let's move on. Let's go to verse 9. Now let me read this. Let me continue reading this. But show kindness until we got that verse 8. And behold, thou hast with thee. Now pay attention to this. This is going to be critical, and I want you to pay attention to this. Remember the name. I'm going to do the best I can to pronunciate it. And behold, thou hast with thee Shimei the son of Ger, a Benjamite of Baraim, which cursed me with the grievous curse in the day when I went to Maham. But he came down to meet me at Jordan, and I swore to him by the Lord, saying, I will not put thee to death with the sword. Now therefore hold him not guiltless, for thou art a wise man, and knowest what thou oughtest do unto him. But his forehead bring thou down to the grave with blood. I want to get into that so bad. And that's really Let me make that understanding for you. That's you giving somebody mercy. That's you providing somebody with grace that does not deserve it. That's what that is. That's you. But it's going to get a little thicker. In other words, sometimes you give people a pass. God has given us a pass on a lot of things. He's shown us mercy. Mercy is not giving you what you should have gotten. I'm going to give you some mercy. Grace is giving you what you don't deserve as well. I'll give you some grace and mercy. He gave him some grace and he gave him some mercy. But it's going to get thicker. I want to jump right into it. And I want to say this. When the Spirit of God tells you to provide a person with a pass, give them the pass. I want to get into that. So let me just move on. Let's go to verse 20. Then say, I desire once. Okay. I'm going to skip this to agree. I'm just going to give, what's happening at verse 20 is, people are sneaky. Let me read. And this is why it's very, very important that you don't be blind and you don't be foolish, that you don't avoid paying attention to the obvious. Sometimes people can't see what you can see, and they're being played. And let me read it. Let me go. I got to read it so you can understand it. Then sat Solomon, I'm sorry, give me a minute, I got to read it so you can understand it. Then sat Solomon upon the throne of David, his father, and his kingdom was established greatly. And Ajandi, the son of Haggith, came to Bathsheba, the mother of Solomon. Pay attention, remember, Ajandi is the half-brother or the brother that wanted to be king, that was, he's saying, I'm going to be king, and he had 50 fools cheering him along. Yeah, and that's what I said last week. Just because it's an idea, don't mean it's a good idea. Every idea you have is not a good idea. So remember, he wanted to be king, but then it was established that Solomon would be king. This was the natural order of what was supposed to take place regardless. But Ajandi is still bitter. You cannot ignore the person that is bitter. You cannot ignore the person that wants to remove you. You cannot ignore the person that wants to be where you are. You cannot ignore that because they're dangerous. And that means they won't stop. They may be sneaky with it. And they may use different resources to uproot you. This is what he means by saying, be wise as a serpent, but kind as a dove. Because you kind, that don't mean you be a fool. That just mean you kind. Point and matter. I bought some chicken yesterday from the chicken joint. I went in and I told them what my order was. I said, give me thighs, legs, and wings. This was my order. And I'm very nice. And this is my point I'm trying to make. So when I get back to eat the food, he didn't give me what I wanted. But I was already out of the area. But it stayed on my mind for hours. Because in my opinion, you wanted to give me what you wanted me to have, not what I asked and paid for. So when the opportunity came, I went back over there last night and I said to him, I said, when I come in here and spend my money and I pay for what I want, give me what I paid for. If you want to give me what you want me to have, then don't charge me. You see what I'm saying? You just assume you're going to treat me any other way. That's not going to be a good idea for you. It's just not. Because you're not going to treat me any old type of way. Because my spirit won't allow it. I'm not going to be belligerent. I'm not going to be overly aggressive. I'm not going to be violent. But I'm going to let you know, you're not going to treat me any way you want. So he understood, is what they call in martial arts. I'm going to bring you to a point of understanding. Now he understood, when he comes in here, I cannot treat him any old type of way. Let me keep reading. And moreover, I have somewhat to say unto thee. And she said, this is Bathsheba. She's talking. Watch this. And he said, thou knowest the kingdom was mine. This is, be careful of your weakest link. Your weakest link may be the one who wears their heart on their sleeve, or your weakest link may be the one that, and it's not, there's always see the flowers in the trees and they don't see nothing else. You better see that snake that's wrapped around that tree. You better see that snake that's slithering in the grass. You have to see it. So when you, because some of the people in your camp, they may not see it because their heart is different and they don't have the spirit of discerning. That's why you have to stay connected to God, that you can keep that spirit. Watch this. This is a John Day talking to Solomon's mother. And he said, I know it's that the kingdom was mine. The kingdom was never yours. But I'm going to tell it to her to try to make her think the kingdom was mine. Was it possible? No, because, you know, do I create any doubt? Did I have it? I could have kept it, but I gave it up to you, so now you owe me a favor. Be mindful. You gotta be mindful. If you're not mindful, you're gonna always be in a place and saying, I should have did it different. I should have did it this way. You don't have to say that. Just be mindful. Know who's coming. So now he's trying to bamboozle the mother. Watch it, because he's sneaky. Stop thinking that people don't have an agenda just because you block plan A. That's why it's called plan B. Plan A didn't get me to where I wanted to be. Let me try plan B. Stop thinking that there's only one agenda. This thing of life is not checkers. It is chess. And if you playing checkers because it's the same board, you're going to be in trouble. You got to know what game they playing. Watch this. He goes on to say, all of Israel set their face on me, that I should reign. Howbeit the kingdom is turned about and became my brothers. For it was his from the Lord. And now I ask one petition, thee deny me not. Be careful when they ask you, deny me not. Because you may not see it. Watch this. And he say, speak, I pray thee, to Solomon. Why you didn't speak to Solomon? Because you knew it was, how you say, fugazi, or whatever they call it. You knew it was a plot to be deceptive. You knew if you could send the weak link in, or the one that has your ear, and let me smooth it over with her, I might get a chance to get back where I wanted to be. I'm going to use plan B. Plan A didn't work. You better stop thinking that because you stopped plan A, that what happens with fighters? When you shut a good fighter down from whatever he or she likes to use, when you shut plan A down, they're a good fighter. They got a plan B. I can't beat you with plan A, I'll beat you with plan B. You better know that you are constantly in a fight. I pray thee unto Solomon. Speak, I pray thee, to Solomon the king, for he will not say thee nay, that he give me Abishai, the Shunammite, to wife. And Bathsheba said, well, I will speak unto thee, the king. Bathsheba therefore went unto King Solomon, spoke unto him for Ajandi, and the king rose up to meet her and bowed himself to her and sat down on his throne and caused a seat to be set for the king's mother. And she sat down on the right hand. Then she said, it's not I. Watch this. This gives what, be careful when you relay a message. He say or she say, could you do X, Y, and Z? Not I, because watch this, I gives the impression it's my request that I want this. I got to make an adjustment. Give me a second. All right, sorry about that. Then she said, I desire one small petition of thee. I pray thee, say me not nay. You know, you do it all the time. When you want somebody to do something for you, you start it off by saying, and don't say no. I got to ask you something, but don't say no. Because now you want your connection, your relationship with them to supersede the request. I hate to say this, but remember, she didn't know what was going on. This is what I mean. Be careful of your weakest link. This is why they say the chain is only as strong as its weakest link. And you said it, and people have said it to you. I got to ask you something, and don't say no. Now you're hoping that the relationship that we have will seal the deal that I'm not even aware of, and I say yes. You've said it before, and it's been said to you. Now the mother is saying it to the son. Look at the admiration that he has for his mother. He said, bring a seat for my mother. And he bowed down to her. The relationship is solid. If he didn't have a spirit of discernment, we wouldn't be talking about him in this light. You're going to have, women of God, you're going to have to discern things for yourself as well as for others, because they don't know. And you can't make the mistake in assuming that they know. That's going to be detrimental. What do they say about assuming? You know what they say. Watch this. Let's move on. And she said, let Abishai, whatever her name is, the Shunammite, be given to Ajandi, thy brother, to wife. And the king Solomon answered and said unto his mother, and why doest thou ask Abishai, the Shunammite, for Ajandi? Ask for him the kingdom also, for he is my elder brother, even for him, and Abiathar the priest, and Joab the son. In other words, what he's saying, if I give him what you are asking me to give, I'm giving him the kingdom, and I'm letting him and Joab and all his cronies rule the kingdom. You gotta be, you have to see the forest and the trees and the pretty flowers, but you gotta see the snake that's wrapped around the flowers and the trees. You have to see it. Because if he didn't see it, he had such admiration for his mother, He bowed down to her. If he did not have that discerning spirit, he would have been victimized and killed. You got to know what you're getting involved with and who you're involved with. It's a reason why they say birds of a feather flock together. It's just not, it's a reason why they say that. It's biblical. What does he say? How can two walk unless they agree? Whatever circle they walk in, they got an agreement about certain things, just like you. The people that's in your circle, y'all have a unspoken and a spoken agreement about certain things. Let's move on. And King Solomon answered her. All right, he went on. Then the King Solomon swore by the Lord. Watch this. I want you to pay attention to this. Because some of you are going to be like, oh, man, that's rough. You know, I was talking to some people, and we had this conversation. I don't know if we had it last week. And I'm going to deviate just for a second. You see the country, and you see a lot of things, race relationships is crazy and things like that. For the first time in my 50 plus years, I've never seen a celebration for Juneteenth. Now it is. And it's a beautiful thing. I'm not saying it's a beautiful thing. Should have been a holiday 100 years ago. Should have been a holiday. But you see so many things taking place. All right. Listen, man. I'm going to say this. And I know some of you are going to be mad. But I really don't care. Let me preface it first by saying this. When the people were rioting and looting and whatever the hell they were doing, they were making a statement. And the statement was, it's so funny, right? That there's people that want love, peace, happiness, safety, security, prosperity, but they only want it for themselves. That's amazing to me. And then you have another people that want it, but black people, they want it, but they're not willing to do the things all the time to get it. So watch this. When they were going nuts and stuff like, and I use that loosely, when they was, looting, and I don't really care because the whole continent of Africa has been looted, they've looted for centuries, so I really don't care. And this is not to be mean. This is just to speak the facts. And what people don't like to do is hear the hard facts. Don't say that. Don't say it was done. It's recorded. Why can't I say it? They've looted. So when the black folks and the white folks got together and was, and it's going to be a topic in here. Now you got both black and white people fighting for the same cause. And they were, being somewhat destructive, but they were fighting for the same cause, for the liberation of a people. Watch this. When the Europeans was colonized by Britain, what did they say? They say, give me liberty or give me death. They were going to stomach it. So, friend of mine, he was like, oh man, this is what he said to me. He said, oh man, I'm with the protests and all that, but the looting and the violence. I said, look at you. This is my response. I said, look at you. I said, you don't have the stomach for freedom. Soon as it gets rough, oh, don't do that. That's too much. Let's just keep it the way it was. Stupid, no. I say, Jesus. I know some of you going to be upset. But again, I don't care. It's not my place to make you. I'm not here to comfort you. I say, when Jesus was in the temple, when he went to the temple and he saw the people exchanging money and selling things, birds, ducks, whatever they were selling. Could have been, oh, Lord knows what was taking place in there. I say the old scriptures used to say he chased the people with the whip. I said, would you agree? He said yes. I said, would you agree he turned the tables over and these were stone tables? I said yes. He said yes. I said, would you agree he was setting a new order of expectation and standards was supposed to take place in the house of God? Would you agree? He said yes. I said, was the expectation now different and that he was establishing the laws and the codes of God? He said, I said, would you agree? He said yes. I said, so when he chased the people with a whip and beat the people with a whip and turned the tables over, would you consider that a violent act? He said no. I said, you're an idiot, because that was a violent act that he participated in. He said, was Jesus violent? I said, I didn't say he was violent. I said he engaged in a violent act that happened to be recorded, because he was establishing a new norms and a new principles that was going to be in the house of God. He said, my Father's house is not a den for thieves. And he beat the people with the whip and threw the money. He established a new order, and it wasn't through peace. I said, you got to have the stomach sometime for things. I said, some of you want things, but you only want it with conditions. I said, Jesus responded the same way. I said, look at God. When God wanted things to take place, what did he tell the people when he said, walk around the city of Jericho one time every day, and then the 7th time scream, I'm going to slam the walls down. Your unity is going to cause a creation of disturbance where everything falls down. Then go in there and get rid of them. That is a violent act. I'm not promoting violence, but I'm trying to tell you, you got to see what happens sometimes. And you got to be able to stomach it. You can't say you want freedom and you want prosperity and you want love and you want this and that, but you're not willing to do nothing for it. That doesn't even make sense. So they had a problem with me with that, clearly. Let's move on. Watch this. Now, therefore, this is Solomon. Now, then King Solomon swore by the Lord, saying, God, do so to me and more also, if Ajandi have not spoken this word against his own life. Some things you bring against yourself. It has nothing to do with me, and it has nothing to do with God. It has to do with you and your behaviors and your decisions that you decided to make. Don't say, why did this happen to me? Why does it happen to me? Think about what you did. Then you can get your answer. Why is it happening to me? No, woe is me is not the case. Some people don't like, other people to remind them of what they did. Then don't do it. You only want the praise. Oh, you did a great job. Wonderful work. What about when you screw up? Okay, we don't got to beat you up for it, but we can acknowledge, oh, this is what happened. Do it this way next time. Why is it always happening to me? Why do you think it's happening to you? Because of the things that you do. Watch this. Move on. Now therefore, as the Lord liveth, which have established me and set me on the throne of David, my father, and who have made me an house as he promised, Ajandi should be put to death on this day. When I wrote next to that, to fulfill your purpose. Watch this. If you do not kill the thing that's trying to destroy you, you will never fulfill your purpose in God. If you do not kill that thing that is trying to destroy you, you will never fulfill your purpose to God. If you keep that thing alive, your attention will always be on that thing that's destroying you and never on the purpose of God. Whatever the behavior is, whatever the thing is, whatever it is, if you do not kill it, you will never achieve your purpose in God. Let's move on. And King Solomon sent by the hand of Benani, the son of Jediah, and he fell upon him that he died. You're going to have to send your henchmen to kill that thing in you. Whether it's greed, whether it's lust, whether it's lying, whether it's procrastination, whatever it is, whether it's a relationship that's just no good for you, whatever it is, if it's overeating, undereating, if it's smoking, if it's drinking, if it's drugging, if it's just laziness, whatever it is, you're going to have to sever ties with it. Because if you don't, it'll always be a thorn in your side. It would always be. I know it feels good, but it ain't good for you. Let's move on. I got a few minutes. I do want to get to something. I hope I'm able to. If I'm not, we'll touch it next week. And unto Abiathar the priest said, the king, get thee to, and watch this. And to Abiathar the priest said the king, get thee to Adonijah unto thy own field, for thou art worthy of death. This is grace again and mercy. But I will not at this time put thee to death, because thou bearest the ark of the Lord God before David my father, and because thou hast been afflicted, and all within my father was afflicted. So Solomon thrusted Abiathar from being priest unto the Lord, that he may fulfill the word of the Lord, which he spoke concerning the house of Eli. Watch this, verse 28. That's grace again, that's mercy. He said, get out of here and go to thy own house, because thou art worthy of death. That's grace again. Then tidings came to Joab. Watch this. I underlined this in red. Then tidings came to Joab, for Joab had turned after Ajandit, though he turned not after Absalom. And Joab fled unto the tabernacle of the Lord and caught hold of the horns of the altar. Remember, you're going to get what your hand called for. You're going to reap what you sow. It's biblical. It's a mandate from God. This is what he reminds us of. This is what he reminds us of. Your number is going to play. You're going to reap what. That's why it's best. 99% of the time, I sow good things. I don't always reap good things, but I sow them. I don't never do anything to hurt somebody intentionally. And I always think about what I'm doing. I may just do some things that you don't like, and I don't know it's a problem, and it may be hurtful, but I don't know it's a problem until you tell me. And once you tell me, I look at it and I fix it. This is why they say it's nice to be nice. He was now getting what his hand called for. It say tidings came for Joab. You got to make sure you spend most of your time sowing good fruit. Things that are edible. Things that give life. It's important. I want to move on because there's some things I really want to touch. And I know I'm not. And then it was told to King Solomon that Joab had fled to the tabernacle of the Lord, and behold, he by the altar Solomon sent Benaiah, the son of Joniah, saying, go fall upon him. That's a bad guy. We're going to get into it. And Benaiah came to the tabernacle of the Lord and said unto him, Thus said the king, Come forth. And he said, Nah, but I will die here. And Benaiah brought the king's word again, saying, Thus say Joab, and thus he answered me. And the king said unto him, Do as he had said, and fall upon him, and bury him, that thou mayest take away the innocent blood which Joab shed from me and from the house of my father. And the Lord shall return his blood upon his own head. It's not my fault that happened to you. That was a direct connection of this person. I told you earlier that you're going to build some relationships with people that your fathers and them had because they were beneficial. You want to maintain them. But also there's the reminder that your people are going to tell you who was damaging to you and to us. Joab was one of them. All right, here's what I want to get to. Let me finish. And the Lord showed him his blood upon his own head, and fell upon him 2 men more righteous and better than he. This is Amas and this is Abner. Abner was David's. That was David's man. They was, as they would say, thick as thieves of 100 grand, and slew them the sword, the father. David knowing therefore to wit Abner the son of Ner, captain of the host of Israel, and Amas the son of Jeddah, captain of the host of Judah. The blood should therefore. All right, I want to get to something because I only got like a few minutes. Verse 36 and 2 and 36. And the king sent and called for Shimei. This is why. Watch this. I'm gonna close on this right here. I spoke about him earlier. Say it's nice, Shimei, or Shimei, whatever. And the king sent and called for Shimei. Now I gotta read. I gotta go back. 33. And the blood should therefore return unto the head of Joab upon the head of his seed forever, but to David, and upon his seed, and upon his house, and upon his throne, should there be peace forever from the Lord. So Benaiah the son of Jediah went up and fell upon him, and slew him, and he was buried in his own house in the wilderness. Benaiah is a bad dude, man. You need some people in your corner that is going to buy into what you're selling that God has given you, and they're committed to you and God first and foremost. If they're only committed to you when you die, then the missions of God would die. You want to make sure they're committed to you in the will of God. That's when you are assured that your body of work will continue whether you're around or not. That's how your legacy will be protected. Watch this. And then the king put Benaiah the son of Jediah in the room over the host, and Zodak and the priest. So now he giving them positions. That's that's like when I do better, you do better. When you do better, I do better. You get on top. Listen, I ain't gonna be where you are, but I'm gonna be close to you. Why? Because I got favor with you. And you understand who I am, and I support you. So now, and you want me around because I support you. And I support your project, and I support the same. I said that earlier. We have a spoken and unspoken rules and ethics about what we support. Birds of a feather flock together. And these people have shown to have honor and loyalty to Solomon as well as his father. So now, and to God, let's not forget that. Why would I not want to keep you around me? Watch this, though. And the king sent and called for Shimei and said unto him, Build thee a house. I want you to be with me on this. I'm going to leave on this. I'm going to go just 5 minutes over. Give me 5 minutes. He said, Build thee a house in Jerusalem and dwell there, and go not forth thence any whither. I'm sparing you But make sure you stay here. Watch this. For it should be that on that day thou goest out and passest over the brook Kindra, thou shalt know for certain that thou shalt surely die. When you make the agreement, stick to the agreement. Because your circumstances change doesn't mean our agreement changed, and I'm not going to amend it because your circumstances change. We had an agreement that I'm giving you based on whatever. Just because your circumstances change and you want me to be sympathetic to you, I'm sympathetic to you and let you stay in a place that you shouldn't even be in. So when we make the agreement, when you make the agreement, regardless what happens, you stick to the agreement or it's going to be the death of you. Just because your circumstances change, my circumstances are supposed to change? No, that was an agreement. Watch this. 3 more minutes. And Shimei said, he said, thy blood should be, for certainly thou should surely die. That blood should be upon thy own hands. You did this to yourself. You know, why are you doing this? Shimei, we had an agreement. You did it to yourself. You want me to suffer because of your agreement? No. You broke your agreement? How you going to break the agreement and want me to go along with the changes? Because time lapse. No. The agreement was, don't come out of there. Build your house. Make yourself as comfortable as possible. Give you all the amenities and the luxuries and whatever you need. But this is your place. Don't come out past the bridge of Kindra. Kindra. Watch this. And Shimei said unto the king, the sayings, and Shimei said unto the king, the saying is good. You always agree when it's good. And then when something come up, oh, those are bad conditions you asked me to agree to. Why you agree to them? I don't understand it. It was good for you when you was getting what you wanted. Oh, that was rough, man. That was, how you asked me to do that? You agreed to it. Stop reneging on your agreements. You made an agreement to God. Ask yourself, are you still in line with the agreement or have you reneged? Keep your agreement. You make an agreement with me, keep it. You make an agreement with God, keep the agreement. Because your circumstances change, the agreement is canceled? No, it's not. It's still an agreement. I got to go. I'm going to pick this up next week. Remember the agreement, verse 2, 37. Father God, I thank you for this moment of time. I thank you for allowing us to break bread with your people, that somebody somewhere was blessed. I pray every father that's filling in the gap and being a father is blessed today. And I pray for those fathers that want to be fathers, that are just not able to be fathers at this time, that your spirit will come over them and consume them, where they will step up and operate in their position. I pray for a healing. And I pray for the sick and shut in. And we give shout out to my brother Lenny Lee, to his family. God bless him, who was passed a couple of days ago. We pray that you will comfort his family. He was a man of God. So we bless his holy name. And Father God, we pray that you can continue to send your angels over your children, that they may be spared and saved and given shelter and security. We ask you this in the name of Jesus. And the people said amen. Amen. God bless you all.